Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with WorldWide Willis. And this podcast is brought to you by the League of Melanated Gentlemen Podcast Network. All right, folks. Today, if you didn't already know, here we discuss wrestling. We discuss all things wrestling, right? We discuss the beauty of wrestling, the drama, the news, all of that stuff, right? And today we definitely got news. Match of the week. We had Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. That was a pretty good match. Nia, this version of Nia Jax is getting better. I'm still not a fan. I don't want to go that far, but she is getting better, and I do think she needed that win for her to still be relevant. So for her to beat Becky clean, I like it. You know what I mean? It's building her up as a potential real threat to Rhea. I know they faced off before, but again, you kind of have to run it back. There isn't a ton of options on the Raw roster right now. And I think they're trying to keep Rhea and Becky away from each other until after Elimination Chamber. I'm wondering if they're going to put the women's, I wonder which title they're going to put up in the Elimination Chamber matches. I wonder if they're going to put up Io's title or I would think they would do Rhea's title because the Elimination Chamber is a good way to showcase young talent, just like last year. One of the best Elimination Chamber matches of all time with Montez Ford, Gargano, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, a few different guys. Like, it was a really good showing for those guys. And it was exposure that they wouldn't have necessarily gotten. So I think this year, you could throw in a Tiffany Stratton, from NXT, throw in a Raquel, throw in a Candice LeRae. There's a bunch of talent you can throw in there to make it a solid match. Obviously, Rhea's going to win, but I mean, and it gives you Rhea on the card. You know what I mean? And that's always good. So that was my match of the week. All right. I don't want to bury the lead here. The Rock is back. He's officially back this time. Where before, it was sort of a show up. There's not a strike, so we kind of got to start the buzz. I'm going to show up, start the buzz, get a feel for it, and go from there. This one was him actually calling out the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? And so, it's interesting, man. Like, it's something we all called for last year, right? Like, we all wanted it at Hollywood, WrestleMania Hollywood, out in Los Angeles. But this year it'll be in Philadelphia, which I don't think it's any smaller than it would have been last year. I think initially the way Cody was going, it was like, okay, we got to give Cody a shot again. We got to run that back. But I think now Cody hasn't fell off. Some people think Cody's fell off. I don't think Cody's fell off. I think everything WWE has given him, he's done a pretty good job but I don't think he necessarily is the greatest challenge for Roman. I'm honestly believing now that The Rock is challenging Roman. I'm thinking, okay, Roman, right? If they do The Rock versus Roman, I do think Roman's going to retain the title. I do. I think Roman's going to win it, carry it all the way to potentially SummerSlam, and then lose it to Cody or someone else. I don't necessarily love the idea, but I do think that's what's going to happen. Now, with The Rock being back, it means a lot. It's a ripple effect for a ton of different people, right? Obviously, for Roman, it affects him in that now if we're talking storyline, right? He's the tribal chief. He's the head of the table. Like, as we know with that family, The Rock is probably the head of the table, right? For real, for real. And so this is going to be a dope. Like, I hope they really dive into the storyline, man. Like, I really hope they dive into it and really get to the traditions of the family. I don't want to do a whole, The Rock, this is what I've done all my career. I'm the best, and I want to beat you for your title because I'm back and I like wrestling again. Like, I don't want that to be the storyline. I want it to be, no, forget the title. The title is a side thing. Now I just want to. This is man to man. You know what I mean? This is Uncle challenging a little young young pup who's kind of talking a little crazy. I got to put you in your place, type of thing, and I got to show the family. I've been hearing rumblings throughout the family. The family talks. I've been hearing through the grapevine that you've been talking a little crazy, and you think you're the head of this entire family. Well, in case you didn't know, I've been running this thing for damn near 20 years now. So I had to come back at the biggest stage of them all and beat you and defeat you in front of everyone to show not only the WWE, but most importantly, the family that I am legitimately the head of the table. And so I hope they dive into the family of it, the traditions of the tribal chief, passing of the torch, all that stuff. Dive into it. Let Paul Heyman be in there. Let all of it be in there. I hope they don't just try to rely on the names. You know what I mean? I hope they don't go, well, it's The Rock, it's Roman. We're going to sell tickets. Who cares about the storyline? Let's just kind of float through that and then get to the match and let them have a banger of a match. I hope they really let them do promos. I hope they really let them go out there and really get personal. You know what I'm saying? I want Roman to throw a couple jabs at The Rock and see if The Rock is, 2002 Rock, or are we getting The Rock that showed up against John Cena, who was wobbly? You know what I mean? Wobbly, was kind of washed on his knees. You know what I mean? John kind of called him out on some things, rightfully so. So I'm interested in that. The ripple effects, though, we have. What does this mean for Cody Rhodes? Right? For Cody, this is kind of tough because it sounds like they're going Rock versus Roman, right? Like he wouldn't call him out and then not make that wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like the WWE, Triple H, Nick Khan, all those people have done all this work to get The Rock to come to buy in and to doing this match at WrestleMania. They wouldn't then have him come out there, reference the tribal chief, and then not do it. Like, that's not going to happen, right? We all know why The Rock's here. The Rock doesn't come here to do second tier matches. He comes here to wrestle in the main event, and that's always going to be Roman Reigns. So for Cody, it's a little tough because he doesn't have a partner right now for WrestleMania. You could technically do let's say, okay, and we'll talk about this. Our top 5 today, forgot to mention, is top 5 matches I want to see at WrestleMania this year. And I'll kind of break down each of them and why I want to see those particular matchups. Now, I had Gunther in there, and I want to see a particular opponent for Gunther. If that particular opponent does not agree to show up, though, and does not want to wrestle at WrestleMania or for the Intercontinental title, I'm thinking maybe we do Cody versus Gunther for the IC title, and potentially add another stipulation onto it, right? Say okay, if whoever wins obviously becomes the IC champion, but you also become the number one contender for the world title, or the title that Seth Rollins holds, right? Whichever title, you become the number one contender. Basically like a Royal Rumble, kind of a pseudo Royal Rumble buy-in, right? I think that adds some extra depth to it. And we saw that at Royal Rumble last year with Gunther and Cody, they have great chemistry. The end of that Royal Rumble saved the entire Royal Rumble. It was kind of a lackluster one because there was a lot of predictable finishes, and we knew Cody was going to come back, blah, blah, blah. But the end of that thing, this end sequence with Gunther and Cody going at it, that was amazing. Saved the entire match. And so I think if we can get that at WrestleMania, give them 20, 30 minutes to cook, oh, man, you potentially have match of the year type of stuff. And I don't think it's a downgrade for Cody. I really don't. Some people will, because some people look at stuff very black and white and don't understand the context. To me, I go, okay, yeah, he isn't fighting for the world title, but we keep him in the world title picture by saying, hey, if you win this, you become the IC champion, but you also get a number one contender spot. But then also, Gunther has made the IC title the second most relevant, if not the most relevant title in the business right now. So it's not like you got Cody wrestling for the U.S. title, you know what I mean, or the 24/7 title. You got this dude facing the juggernaut, basically, in Gunther, the person who has not lost ever in WWE on the main roster. You got him going up against him. If there's, and Cody would be the underdog in that case. right? And that's what you want. You want people again having a reason to root for Cody. If you have Cody versus Gunther, people are gonna root for Cody. They're gonna be like, "Shit, bro, I'm rooting for you, but man, that dude Gunther over there, that dude's a Terminator. Like that dude doesn't, he doesn't lose. You know what I mean? So people would be rooting for an upset. So yeah, Cody, it sucks. You know, he won't be able to finish, potentially won't be able to finish the story. Some people were pushing for a triple threat, Cody versus Roman versus The Rock. I can kind of see it now. Now that I actually say it in my brain, I can kind of see it because I can kind of see Cody coming to The Rock like, "Hey man, I respect you, but I earned this. I've been here. I deserve another chance." And The Rock being like, "Hey man, respectfully, get the fuck out of my face. I am The Rock. This is family business. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This is family thing. You know what I mean? This is family issues. This is in-house stuff. You know what I mean? You need to stay out of it." And then that caused friction between Cody and The Rock. And then you obviously you got friction between those guys and Roman. So I can see a triple threat. I wouldn't necessarily want it. I prefer more of a triple threats are hard to pull off, especially for a guy who hasn't been wrestling. It'd be different if The Rock had been wrestling for months now. Okay, triple threat might work because you got it's a lot about timing and stuff like that and chemistry. But that's going to be probably his first match, if not ever. You know what I mean? So it's tough to pull off. Now I did see someone say, so we got so our next event is Royal Rumble, right? That's our next pay per view. After that, we have Elimination Chamber, which is going to be in Australia. And then we have WrestleMania. So some people were saying they're going to have have The Rock versus Cody at Elimination Chamber. Whoever wins gets to face Roman Reigns. Now, that does kind of undercut whoever your Royal Rumble winner is, right? Because the Royal Rumble winner now has less, you know, choices to make. But you know, you can finagle that. You can ride around that. You can make it to where the Royal Rumble winner wins, and then immediately pick Seth Rollins, and then okay, cool. Now we just got to worry about the Rock, the winner of the Rock and the Cody go face Roman. It doesn't have to get too complicated. But again, you're kind of writing yourself into a wall. So I, you know, in Australia, Elimination Chamber last year had Roman versus Sami Zayn. That thing felt like a Mania WrestleMania match. Like it had that great of an atmosphere. And Australia is going to have great atmosphere. I can see why Triple H and Nick Khan would want to have The Rock attached to Elimination Chamber because that's going to bring hella eyes to it. That's going to bring crazy amount of people to it. So I can see why. If someone pitched that, I can see that. You know what I mean? And it clears up the Cody versus who's going to face Roman thing. It's very clear after you have a winner of that match. But, you know, that's just an idea I've seen. Um, Now, again, Cody, I think Cody will be fine. They will figure out a way for Cody to look good at WrestleMania. He will wrestle at WrestleMania. He'll have a good look, right? He'll have a good spot. So we'll see about that. Next we have CM Punk. So some people think we're gonna have CM Punk. We're gonna have CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble, and then picking to choose Seth Rollins. That's what some people believe, right? It's so funny now because it's like it's kind of becoming it's oddly ironic because you have CM Punk who left the WWE first time because he was annoyed that he was the best wrestler, which he was, and he never got to main event WrestleMania because guys like The Rock, guys like John Cena got that opportunity over him because they were the mainstream, you know, darlings who brought in all the money and stuff, right? He left due to that, right? He was frustrated with Vince about that. Leaves. Now he's back. And he's like, okay, now I'm back. I'm finally gonna get that WrestleMania night, that main event. I'm finally getting that main event match. And then boom, here comes The Rock. It's like, well, damn. And I mean, now, of course, WrestleMania is 2 nights now, so he has 2 opportunities to get it. He could potentially main event WrestleMania night 1 with Seth Rollins for that title. That would be great. But at the back of his head, he has to go, well, shit, I really didn't main event though. Like we all know the night 2 main event is main eventing the entire WrestleMania event. Right, that's where the two biggest dogs in the company at that time go against each other. Right, just like last year, they had Cody versus Roman on the second night, the main event. That was the thing. That was the big match. So it's just ironic that CM Punk comes back now, and he's again has to deal with The Rock taking the spots of the big spot. So, but yeah, I think they're gonna do CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble, which is fine. I mean, some people were complaining about him being in shape, him not necessarily being in the greatest wrestling shape. I think he'll be fine by that time, bro. Like we got a whole now we're about 20 something 25 days out from Royal Rumble or so. He should be fine. Again, like when he was in AEW, he looked good. Like he had some really good matches. His match with Samoa Joe, potentially match of the year. He had a match at Forbidden Door. I forgot my dude's name. Dude is a legend from New Japan. I forgot. I apologize for getting my guy's name. That was an amazing match with him and that guy at Forbidden Door. And he had some really other good ones. So him and MJF had some great matches. So yeah, man, I don't worry too much about CM Punk. I think he'll get in shape now that he's in the WWE. He has a performance center to go to every day, right? He has access to way more stuff now than he did with AEW, which doesn't have a performance center. They don't have that type of apparatus. So I think CM Punk will be fine. And I think by Mania in April or whatever it is, like he'll be in shape. He'll be fine. He has time. But okay, next we have some AEW news. We have Mercedes Moné, also known as Sasha Banks. It sounds like she's headed to AEW. Sounds like there were some contract disputes with WWE. WWE didn't want to pay Sasha Charlotte Flair type of money, and they basically said, "Hey, like we're not paying you that. We're not giving you a max contract, basically." And I don't agree with that. I think Sasha's amazing. I think she's the best wrestler in the company or any company right now. The best women's wrestler in the world as far as like technical wrestler. But I will say like she's had some very short runs and she's kind of been away a lot and had a lot of comebacks, and that kind of undercuts you sometimes when you as far as popularity. Charlotte's more popular, but also half of that is due to her dad, right? Charlotte's amazing, but like when she got in the door, we knew her because of her dad. Um, and all the insurance, all that stuff is based on her dad. And so, but I am interested to see Mercedes go to AEW. I think her and Tony Storm could have some really good matches. When Jamie Hayter comes back, they can have some good ones. Maybe Mercedes can be the person to kind of uplift that division, the way to the point to where they can actually compete with the WWE, because so far AEW hasn't sniffed the WWE's women division in talent, timing, promos, any of that, in ring stuff, none of it. They're not even close, and they have a mid card belt, which the TBS title, you'd think would be okay, but no, man. Like WWE doesn't even have a mid card belt, and they probably should. Um, Also in AEW news, we have MJF is now no longer under contract now that we're in 2024 with AEW. He's been taken off of the roster. He lost to Samoa Joe this past week, and he lost the title to Samoa Joe, and so he's doesn't have the title anymore. He found out Adam Cole was the devil the whole time, and betrayed him basically, and now he's not under contract. Now, I honestly do not think, I say this. I said the same thing about CM Punk. I was like, I don't think he's going to WWE. But MJF, I don't see going to WWE right now. It's just too stacked right now. It's just too stacked. And it'd be hard to fit in and get yourself up the card fast enough with this short amount of time you have from January to April. Like that's a long time to be able to, as a goal, if you're just trying to get in shape for CM Punk January to April, cool, I can get in shape by then. That's fine. But to get over with the crowd, to let these people who have never watched AEW before actually know who you are and identify you, and then have a big match by Mania, that's hard to do. So I mean, after Mania, I could see it. You know, when all the other big stars go away, go away, The Rock, Roman, some other guys go away, I can see it. And so, if MJF showed up in WWE, I would not be mad at all. At all. I think it'd be a great addition. He'd kill it. I think he'd really. Some people were like, well, he wouldn't be able to talk the same like he does. I think the dude's smart enough to be able to adjust. Like he'll walk the line, the WWE line, as close as possible, but he will adjust. Um, so MJF again, not under contract right now, but we'll keep an eye on what happens there. I'm definitely interested in how that's going to work out. If he re-signed, I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of lean more towards him re-signing with AEW rather than leaving AEW, but we'll see. We shall see. All right, our top five today is our top five matches that I want to see myself personally want to see at WrestleMania. Number five, I want to see a 6-man or 6-team tag team match. So I want to see almost similar to what we had last year, but I think that was a 4-way tag team match. This one I want it to be tornado tag, maybe even a ladder match for the undisputed tag team titles. And really, I want to split. My goal is to split the titles or make it one like universal title, and then we unify the titles the next night or something on Monday Night Raw. But basically, what I want to do is I want to have the Judgment Day defend their titles against the New Day, the Creed Brothers, Imperium, Miz, the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, and then also DIY, Do It Yourself with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I really think that would be a great match. I think it would really show off Creed Brothers and DIY. I also think Awesome Truth and the New Day will bring a fun element to it. Imperium's going to bring that wrestling that we were looking for and the timing. So Judgment Day, honestly, Judgment Day always has really good matches, honestly, especially like in a team setting, tag team setting. They always pretty much have a good match. I'm not going to lie. So that's one I really want to see. I think whoever wins, I would probably have Creed Brothers winning, and then I would have them unify the titles the next night. So it's only one tag team title moving forward instead of tag team titles for both brands, and then they can defend it on either brand they want to. Number 4, I want to see the 4 horsewomen match ish, right? I just like we talked about, we don't think Sasha Banks. Now I can't get her name right now that I call her. Basically, we want to see. We talked about how Mercedes Moné is now going back to AEW. Well, if that happens, obviously we don't have her as an option for the 4 horsewomen. She's the 4th member or whatever member. So now I think we're gonna have to do Becky versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair, and I think that's just kind of a big match to kind of an ego match. And if you want, you could also, and I think that's a non-title match. I think you do that as just them 4 having beef, and needing to settle it. Them need to settle who's the number 1 contender and also who's the top dog here. Like, because these 4 women have been running the division for the last decade or so. So definitely 5 to 6 years. So again, Becky versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. And I think that EO can face somebody else for a title match. Again, Rhea can face Nia Jax or someone else. If we do Becky versus Rhea in a separate match, we could take out Becky here and maybe replace her with I'm trying to think. Maybe replace her or just have a triple threat match. Bayley versus Charlotte versus Bianca. Like it's not bad. And if you want, you could put EO in Becky's spot and then have a title, then make it an actual title match. Either way, I'm okay with it. I think it works. Or you can move an Oscar in that, whichever. So I think that'll be a good one. My number 2 is one we talked about, It is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I think that would just be a great match. It's going to have so much buzz behind it because of the real life beef they have and the real life the promo they had right on that Monday Night Raw. That was really fun. It was honest, it was transparent, and it seemed real. So I think number 3 for me, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I think that'd be a fun one. It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be hard hitting. You're gonna feel every bit of that. Number 2 for me is The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I think that match is gonna hit, man. I think it's gonna be electric, man. I like I said, when The Rock came out this past week on Monday Night Raw on day one, I tweeted, I don't care what anyone says, The Rock has a top 5 interest song of all time, and I truly believe that. Like from the drums to the bass line to the guitar to all of that, they just and his song hits even better when it's in an arena. When it's in a big space, oh, it just hits so different. So when he's in Philadelphia and that song hits, if you smell boom boom what the Rock doom doom is cooking, like bro, it's gonna go crazy. The place is gonna go bananas, and I can't wait. Um, and then I just think it's gonna be a great matchup. You're gonna be rooting for the Rock. Roman and the Bloodline gonna be cheating, and it's gonna be like the Rock finally, has won, has finally over, and maybe you even have the Bloodline cheating the Rock, jumping him. The ref is down, of course, maybe even 2 refs, you know how Roman matches go. And then then Stone Cold music hits. Boom, Stone Cold music hits. He runs out there, stuns 3, 4 people, right? Maybe even stuns Paul Heyman. Then he kind of like he did with back in the day on Backlash, where he kind of saved the Rock from getting jumped by the corporation. But or was it DX? I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, have Stone Cold come out there, hit them with the Stone Cold stunners, and basically tell The Rock, get up, whoop his ass. And The Rock gets up, stunner. I'm sorry, rock bottom, pins him, 1, 2. Roman kicks out of that. And then they keep going again, and then Roman eventually gets the victory. Like I think again, there's so many ways to book that match, but that's just off the top of my head, like how I would want it to go. I think that'd be really fun. And then number 1 for me is, again, if you know me, you know what I want in wrestling. I want 2 meaty men slapping meat. You know what I mean? And that's why I got into wrestling. That's why I love it to this day. That's the one reason I really like AEW sometimes. It's like sometimes I don't need a story. Most of the time I do. That's why I prefer WWE. But sometimes I don't need a story. Sometimes I just want to see 2 people wrestle. And AEW gives me that. They don't give me a ton of story. They give me a lot of good wrestling in the ring. And so this match would be for those people. This match would be for the people who love the Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Gunther match, or love the Gunther Sheamus match, or anything like that, or love the Cody versus Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam. Like this match is just going to be about who's the baddest man on the planet. And my number 1 is Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. That one, I literally believe people would just be having goosebumps watching them 2 stare at each other when the bell rings. Like, that's just the ultimate test for Gunther, right? And I think it'd be a great way for Brock to put someone over who is the next guy. You know what I mean? Usually Brock's put over people. Like, don't get me wrong. Brock has put people over. He's been asked to win a lot of matches because he's Brock Lesnar, right? That's just part of the thing. But I do think him putting over Gunther that'd be dope. Just behind the scenes, that'd be really cool. And I think, man, it just would be fun to watch Gunther kind of get thrown around a little bit and kind of have to adapt to someone who's bigger, stronger, faster. You know what I mean? And have to technical Brock Lesnar. That'd be fun. And break him down piece by piece, legs, arms, ankles, I'm saying wrists, chest, all that. He'd have to injure all of that just to get a chance. And so, yeah, my number 1, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. I think that would be so much fun. It would be damn near match of the year, especially if Brock sells the way Brock usually sells. Oh, this could be amazing because it could be a part where like everybody thinks Brock is invincible, but then there could be a point where it's like, oh shit, like Brock might be a wrap for my boy. Like he's getting his ass whooped by Gunther, and they start to doubt him, and then he comes back with a fury, Suplex City, over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Or submissions or any of that. So yeah, my number one definitely Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for top 5 matches I want to see at Mania. Hoping we get all of them. Again, I'll go through my list again. Number 5, Judgment Day versus New Day versus the Creed Brothers versus Imperium versus Awesome Truth versus DIY for the tag titles, and then hopefully unified. Then we have number 4, we have Becky versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. Again, you can substitute Io instead of Becky, have Becky face Rhea, have Io participate in this match, and then be for a title, whichever you prefer. Then we had Punk versus Seth Rollins. Obviously, a ton of backstage history there, a ton of history, ton of animosity there. That would be fun. Then you have number 2, you have The Rock versus Roman Reigns. That's blockbuster. So there's really no more I need to say there. That's kind of easy. Then number 1, obviously, is Brock versus Gunther. That would be super fun. They had a moment at at Royal Rumble last year that really got people buzzing and starting to look forward to it. Like it was a thing. It was a matchup that we didn't think about until that moment, and you were like, "Damn, okay." Like they putting Gunther up there against some of the best of the best. So it'd be very interesting. But yeah, folks. Again, I appreciate you being with me today. Definitely tap into the YouTube, to the Twitter, to the Facebook group. All things, Thread, all that stuff, X, everything. So definitely hit us up with your thoughts on anything, and we appreciate you tapping in. We out. Yep.